As Steve Jobs once said, be a yardstick of quality. Some people aren't used to an environment where excellence is expected. This presentation aims to increase Yamaha Motors' value through refining its competitive advantage. The Vira analysis conducted shows that Yamaha is ready to invest in a completely new industry due to having sustained competitive advantages. As seen from the fiscal 2020 consolidated financial results, Yamaha's weakest unit is its robotics unit, which only generates 4% of its operating income. Taking into account the SWOT analyses conducted, it is recommended that Yamaha should divest from its SMT product line from the robotics unit, as it is a highly competitive industry and Yamaha does not have a significant competitive advantage in that sector.
Porter's 5 forces was used to analyze the robotics industry. It is concluded that Yamaha's robotics unit is facing strong threats of competition, new entrants, suppliers, and customer pressures. It is therefore logical for Yamaha to divest from this unit to further create value in a relatively new industry to assist in establishing a competitive advantage. Investing in FCEVs is an excellent way to ensure Yamaha remains a candle-creating company, as well as to achieve its long-term vision for 2030 of ART for human possibilities through promoting carbon neutrality vehicles. Synergy is critical amongst Yamaha's units to ensure competitive advantages are established. FCEVs will further enhance Yamaha's value chain and competitive advantage, as they have prior history in developing car engines for Volvo, Toyota, and Ford.
Yamaha can use its current knowledge on automobiles to build its FCEVs, as it once had plans to enter the automobile industry. This plan was abandoned due to the competitive nature of the industry, as well as the negative consequences of traditional fuel cars on the environment. Additionally, Yamaha has just begun to accept orders for its electric motor, which further reinforces the appropriateness of investing in FCEVs.
Notably, traditional fuel cars are beginning to be prohibited by many governments in the near future. These factors pose beneficial circumstances to create FCEVs. Porter's 5 forces was used to analyze the FCEV industry. It is concluded that the FCEV environment is favorable for Yamaha, especially due to many countries beginning to ban traditional fuel cars and the FCEV industry being a relatively untapped sector.
External analysis is critical, as it will allow Yamaha to adapt its strategies to effectively compete against its competitors in the new market. The United States has been chosen as the more preferable destination than India for Yamaha.
The PESTLE ID analysis conducted reveals that the US poses more favorable opportunities and advantages in the FCEV industry for Yamaha compared to India. For example, there are government initiatives to encourage purchasing FCEVs, such as the Alternative Fuel Excise Tax Credit and an abundance of FCEV charging stations. A main reason why India was not chosen is due to it being highly dependent on China for raw materials, and the current political tensions between India and China do not pose advantageous opportunities for FCEV investments.
The recommended market entry method for Yamaha is through a joint venture with a knowledgeable American fuel cell partner, similar to Renault's joint venture with Plug Power. While joint ventures may pose some risks, such as the potential loss of control over management, the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. For example, joint ventures allow the pooling of resources, such as knowledge and assets, which can further enhance value creation to establish a global competitive advantage.
The OLI framework by Dunning shows that it will be beneficial for Yamaha to pursue the US FCEV industry through a joint venture. Ownership, locational, and internalization advantage can be established. For internalization advantage to be established, Yamaha should follow Toyota in instilling the Keiretsu philosophy, which involves developing relationships on trust, learning from customers to foster innovation, while also sourcing globally to minimize transaction costs. This will allow the development of high-quality FCEVs.
Despite the US posing very favorable factors for FCEV investments, the industry is still relatively new. Therefore, Yamaha should invest in California first, as it is the lead state for FCEV infrastructure, with the plans of opening 176 open retail hydrogen fueling stations by 2026. According to the Kaizen philosophy, continuous improvement will lead to constant innovation, which infers continuous value creation through refining its competitive advantages. To ensure the longevity and sustainability of Yamaha, its CSR initiatives must constantly be monitored, and further value creation through investing in the ammonia fuel car industry is recommended.
Non-financial business goals are critical in the longevity of businesses as shown through Japanese shinise, otherwise known as old shop. Yamaha's current basic policies of CSR should be upheld. It must be noted that the joint venture partner must also hold the same CSR values to ensure synergy is maintained to create value.
Kaizen is critical, and thus Yamaha should research on the ammonia fuel industry to ensure they are able to obtain first mover advantage to dominate the market. Ammonia fuel is a non-polluting fuel that is more sustainable than hydrogen and FCEVs. Ammonia-fueled cars can travel twice as long than FCEVs on the same volume of fuel. Not only will this ensure sustainable growth for Yamaha, but it also fits within its framework for ART for human possibilities and contributes to a more sustainable environment. Thus, synergy can be established, indicating strong potential for value creation and obtaining a competitive advantage.
After establishing a solid standing within the market, Yamaha should further expand. The Uppsala model should be followed, as this will allow an easier entry into foreign markets. For example, Australia may be an advantageous destination as government initiatives to install FCEV infrastructure are being developed. Furthermore, it is psychically close to the US. Further expanding globally will allow Yamaha to enhance its value chain due to the refinement of its competitive advantage. It is Yamaha's core philosophy to create breakthroughs through expanding on opportunities. Yamaha should therefore divest from its SMT line and invest in the FCEV industry. This will assist Yamaha in becoming one of the major players in the FCEV industry, as it is a relatively untapped sector. The recommendations provided will ensure Yamaha can remain at a competitive advantage through constantly elevating the value being created and thus continuously offering new excitements and fulfilling people's lives all over the world through creating Kandor.